I only have one trick right now.
But that is not the worst of it. All these jolts and shaking are most alarming. These are signs that the Navigator and the Master Helmsman are having difficulty translating the ship out of the warp and into real space. I fear that they may have already lost control. We must reach the Navigator's sanctum and get a handle on the situation. If we can manage that, some aboard this vessel may yet survive.
I heard one of Theodora's Vox casts.
Lady Theodora's. Which one? The last one I received was about the Navigator's sanctum, and that was a good while ago. In any case, let us hope that the Lord Captain is well, and safely in charge of the ship's defense. In the meantime, we must do all we can to prevent the ship from veering off course.
How did you find me?
You sent me a Vox message. Specifically, a Vox cast on the officer's frequency, which I had the good fortune to receive. You mean to say you did no such thing?
I think the Warren Sentinel may have sent that message. It appeared when I opened the chamber.
Warren Sentinel? The Lord Captain barely ever ventures down to the chamber, and I was at her side only once or twice when she did. And I did not see anything of the sort. The Warren Chamber is an ancient and rather sacred mechanism that the ship's tech priests treat with the utmost reverence. I assume that whatever it is that you did, you must have activated certain processes and caused the Sentinel to awaken. But then, why did none of it happen when Lady Theodora did the same?
He frowns. What can we expect to find in the Navigator's sanctum?
During warp transit, the sanctum is closed to all who are not involved in traversing the Imperium. And for good reason. For the Navigator to open their third eye and perceive the way, the sanctum must be bathed in the energies of the immaterial. Only a Navigator can withstand such an ordeal. For the rest of us, any contact with the warp is fraught with perils such as loss of sanity, spontaneous mutations, and death.
Alright, so this is like my 6th Warhammer game. I still have a lot to learn. I don't know anything about this. The Navigator is hit with the warp energies? That's on purpose? Like, I know the whole thing about how the God Emperor is, like, his powers are so bright and detectable that humanity uses him kind of like a North Star so they can navigate the warp. So I guess that they also have a psyker on their I assume it's a psyker? Like this person on the ship, the Navigator? Is the Navigator a psyker, or is it something else entirely? The Navigator's sanctum, very well. Lead the way.
Absolutely. Let us proceed.
Pretty much. It's a mutant. A wave of static suddenly erupts from the servo skull. You can make out Theodora's words through the noise. To arms, loyal sons and daughters of the God Emperor. Fight the heresy and corruption that threatens to consume our home, and with all your might destroy those who have dared.
The Lord Captain is calling her crew to battle, which means the Vox networks are set up for broadcast transmission, not message exchange. Splendid. While the rogue trader inspires proper resolve to fight in her subjects, you and I shall prove that her trust in us is well deserved. Onward.
Let's see. Navigator has a third eye that sees warp currents and uses them as guidelines for travel. Every ship has a navigator. Awkwardly, all navigators are powerful psychers that peer into the warp as part of their job. Okay. Twitch recently changed their TOS. Yes, Twitch changed their TOS a little while back, allowing streamers that stream on Twitch to also stream on other websites. So I'm streaming on Twitch and YouTube right now. Oh my god, this is 6 people. Combat begins with the tactical phase, during which characters cannot attack or take other actions, but may try to take advantageous positions. Select a character by clicking the left mouse button on their portrait at the top of the screen, then click left mouse button on the cell you want the character to move to. Red cells and areas are inaccessible by the character. During the tactical phase, each character in the party may move up to their max movement points, but cannot position themselves adjacent to an enemy. There is really no cover to help with these. I can save. All right.
My ears are ringing.
Dang it, I just took a bite. Mmm. Your new companion is a warrior. Abelard specializes in melee combat and drawing the enemy's attack. Charge is a unique warrior ability and works only when they are using a melee weapon and is not considered an attack action. Use charge to close the distance between you and the enemy and deal damage. Click left mouse button on the ability icon and choose which direction to charge him. If an enemy is in the direct path of a charge, Abelard will attack them and will still be able to use an attack action afterward if he has not used one this turn. Note that charge can only be used if the character is 2 cells or more away from their target. This character is using a melee weapon. Melee attacks require the ability to be adjacent to the enemy. To make a melee attack, click left mouse button on the strike ability and then on the enemy you wish to attack. Unlike single shots, melee attacks hit automatically with no need for a roll. The enemy will try to dodge and parry the attack if they're using a melee weapon on their own. Melee weapons can be used to make area attacks. All creatures in the area will suffer damage unless they dodge, or parry if they're armed with melee. Damage dealt by melee weapons depends on the weapon's parameter and the attacker's strength score.
At your back, I took care of this one. Victory is imminent. One fewer target.
Attack of opportunity. Characters with melee weapons can make an attack of opportunity if an opponent in an adjacent cell initiates movement. It can also be triggered by some abilities. All characters with melee weapons, including members of your party, can make attacks of opportunity. The chance to hit and deal damage are calculated like a normal attack. What is this? Brace for impact. The Navy officer and their allies in a 3-cell radius gain deflection. Alright. The combat abilities of characters differ depending on their archetype. Available abilities are located on the bottom right of the screen in the abilities panel. To read the full description of the ability, hover your cursor over its icon or click right mouse button on it. Click the left mouse button on the ability to use it. Before the ability is used, you'll get to review its estimated outcome while hovering your cursor over a character or an area of your choosing. You will also see the ability's AoE, and each character in the area will have a number displayed over them denoting the probability of being successfully affected. If the ability's effect is guaranteed to work, the ability icon is displayed instead of a number. When you are ready to use the ability, left mouse button again to confirm. During your adventures, your characters will gain new abilities and talents as their power grows. You can view the full list of abilities on the character page by pressing C. Alright, strengthen arms. Voice of command. Does it cost action points to weapon swap? I don't think so.
Shattered foes in my wake. A wicked, unpredictable downfall.
All right. Woo! I parried. What? He hit both of his allies. His shot missed me and pierced through both of them. Wow.
It will be done. I took care of this one.
A genius at work.
Buff my arms.
I won't sully myself with that.
%17 chance to hit. 53. Dodge. His aim's as good as mine.
Indeed.
Alright. You can advance the level of your character and companions. Prevailing in battles, exploring the Coronis Expanse, and completing quests earns you XP points. Once you've accumulated enough experience, your character gains a new level. Click on the arrow symbol on a character's portrait to open the level up screen. Each level gained offers your characters new progression options, which include new abilities, talents, skill improvements, and other enhancements. Your companions gain new levels at the same time as your characters. Even if they are not included in the active party during your journeys, you can always increase their level later.
Sometimes you consult the appropriate treatise on Tactica Imperialis and weigh...
Let us seize the moment.
Wait, how do I... Wait, what? Hold on. How do I do the level up? 1 rank's available. Oh. Wait, what? Why is the arrow pointing there? Do I have to pick that one? I am very confused right now. The total number of upgrades available from all new ranks. I'm not sure what to do here. All right. I'll come back to that, I guess. Can I loot any of this stuff? Looting! Defeated enemies have no further need for their former belongings, but you can discover valuable trophies among them. Click left mouse button on defeated enemy to inspect what's left. Items on the right side of the trophy collection window go to your inventory, such as items that can be used by your characters. Items on the left are picked up as cargo and sent to your ship, which can later be used to trade. You can move trophies from one side of the window to the other by double-clicking on them or dragging them. Alternatively, you can use the buttons at the bottom to mass transfer all items. Okay. Oh, it looted all of them at once. Alternate weapons. I have already figured out weapon swapping. Alright.
They will see. Oh, yes, indeed. They all will see.
Here's a map of your void ship. It consists of several parts between which you can travel. Some parts are not yet available, but over time your character will be able to access them. Click the button on the active part of the void ship to move there.
Patience.
There's a lot of purple wood stuff.
Navigator sanctum directly.
And so, he will enter the halls of the blinded guide and witness the radiance of the final dawn through the cracks and fall victim to a whim of fate.
Okay.
Master, watch your head. Adira,
Did my guy just do
would
a
it
flip?
be too much to ask that you phrase your soothsayings plainly for once? That was too close.
Remember to advance the level of your characters and their companions. They always receive new abilities and talents and improve their skills and characteristics. Click the arrows symbol on the portrait to open the level up screen.
Sorry, old man. The voices are so loud I can't even hear myself. They shriek, they sing, they... Oh, Abelard, how they sing!
This is Adira Tlas, personal psyker and diviner of Her Ladyship
It's
Theodora
diviner.
von Valensis. Adira?
I'm not drunk, old man. I'm suffering the effects of the warp that is seeping through these walls. I see the ship's fate. To die in the waves of the immaterium, fall under the burning rays of the final dawn. And in the roaring blaze, I see a figure standing. Who is it? I have no answer.
The entity in your consciousness shrinks and crawls in deeper, its claws scraping against the walls of your mind, as if the presence is trying to hide from the seer standing before you. Can you get this thing out of my head? A diviner, are you?
The voices from beyond the threshold whisper to me. Sometimes their murmurs are clear, they grant insight. Sometimes they drive me mad. But I am patient. I know how to listen and discern. But now, with this clamor around me, too many voices, too loud. And you, Von Valancius, are a sorcerer too.
Muck von
like
Luck
the
von
other one.
Valancius.
Lady Theodora must have grown so fond of psykers she wants one to replace her.
You hear a few clicks from the relays on the servo skull, which has followed you all the way here, and Theodora's scrambled words give way to a voice vaguely familiar to you. Officer's frequency. To all who can hear me, those with a weapon in their hands are to gather on the officer's deck at once. I repeat, gather on the officer's deck at once and prepare to launch a counterattack.
That's Ethelthrat. Oh, Emperor's Providence. The other heir lives as well. Quickly, we must head to...
Not so fast, old man. If we drown in the warp, Lady Theodora's heirs won't be any good to us. If Edelstrad's like me and hasn't yet surrendered his mind or body to the mercy of the warp, then he can still hold on a little longer without us.
Blast it. You're right. First, we need to deal with what is happening here.
What are you doing here?
The whispers called me. The ones I could make out among all the screams and screeches. Those who are rocking this boat hit us where it hurt. They went after the Navigator, our guide through the warp. Other whispers called me to the enginarium, but it was too late. I heard the cry of our master Cog, and the silence that followed.
What? You don't mean the Enginseer Prime is...
Said, without a doubt. And the voices wail, heralding countless nightmares, cackling at each soul among the hundreds that are now joining the warp. The shriek from the Navigator's sanctum was louder than the rest. And it's better that we saved the Navigator than some lever puller from a cooling module or a cook from the middle decks.
We must see if the Navigator as well.
Oh no. No. Nothing is well about him. Can't you feel the chill crawling on your skin? The eyes watching you? The warp ice has already encased the bulkheads. What follows is calamity. But we're not just going to stand here and take it, are we? The state of things in here suggests there's a Navigator around. Maybe one who's crippled or at death's door, but still kicking. And since our skin hasn't peeled off our faces just yet, his third eye must be closed. At worst, it's a little roughed up. So what are we moping around for? Let's go protect that noble mutant while we're still alive.
Okay. Party controls. Adira has joined the party, which now consists of several characters. To select one character, click the button on their portrait. To select multiple, click left mouse button and drag a box around them. To select the entire party and issue commands to all your characters at once, you can press backspace. Alright, let's try this again. Okay, what is this? Commerce. This skill is affected by the fellowship characteristic. It represents a character's business sense and their ability to make profitable bargains. May give access to new dialogue options. Or persuasion. Wait, so do you just... is it just plus 10 to a stat? Choose skill. So you get plus 10 to one of these. I get persuasion. Alright, so that's how we level up. Did I get more hit points or anything for that? Athletics, ability to traverse difficult terrain, carouse, resist negative effects such as poison, stimulators, or alcohol. Let's get carouse. So he's got 24 HP. Yes, he did get one more hit point when he leveled. And what is she? Analyze enemies. Okay. Alright. A piece of pipe left a noticeable dent in the floor. Alright, F5. Is that the Navigator they're shooting at?
I have a different perspective.
Here we go again. Are you ready to die?
He going. Ah, he parried.
At your beck and call.
Brace for impact. Heretic Psyker.
Just
Ow!
a
My
minor
brain!
setback.
Hologram. You can use the hologram to gauge the effectiveness of your intended actions in combat before taking them. Click left mouse button on an accessible cell in the battlefield to place the character's hologram there. Select a ability or a single shot attack to see the expected outcome. The action will be displayed as if you use the hologram's location to let you assess whether you have picked an effective position for the action you're planning to take. The hologram also lets you see if the enemy will be within your line of sight. Huh. Okay, that's cool. The second part of that I knew. The first part I did not.
Let's see.
Alright, strength of arms. Voice of command.
Through the smoke and gunfire.
Alright, he's gone. Adira. She is a psyker and an operative. As an operative, you can study opponents and identify their weaknesses, and her psyker abilities allow her to deal damage to them. Analyze enemies is an operative ability, which applies exploit effect to all enemies within the operative's line of sight at the start of each of the operative's turns. The operative can also use this ability against a specific enemy to inflict several stacks of this effect. The higher the operative's int bonus is, the more exploit stacks will be inflicted. When an operative hits a target with exploit, the attack deals additional damage. The amount of extra damage depends on the target's number of exploit stacks and the operative's perception. Exposed weakness is an operative ability where they can use against a single enemy who is under exploit effect. This ability reduces the enemy's dodge, parry, and armor. The amount of reduction depends on the number of active exploits on the enemy and the operative's perception. Adira is armed with a special staff that allows a psyker to unleash psychic powers against enemies. In the future, you'll encounter staves that only a psyker versed in certain disciplines can use. For example, you might find a staff that lets a psyker use Inferno, but they must have pyromancy to do it. Okay. Chains lightning to up to 4 targets within a 3-cell radius. I mean, that looks like it's just going to be a guaranteed hit. Okay, so that's 2 action points. Alright, first let's move here. Analyze enemies is 1 AP.
There is movement in the Imperium.
Okay, so he's analyzed. So then try the lightning thing.
Was that you?
That's pretty cool. Oh, there's one more up there. I didn't see him. Forewarning, increase the target's dodge and parry by 11% until the end of combat.
On it.
Put it on Abelard. So he's got buffed arms, and now he can see the... Oh, God. What? I forgot about the warp thing. Hi. Okay, we're starting to get the attention of the residents of Hell. Veil degradation. Oh, I forgot about this entirely. Momentum. Alright, how does this work? When psykers reach deeper into the warp to power their abilities, there's always a chance of the Imperium bleeding into a reality. At the beginning of combat, the Veil degradation usually is at 0. Increases by 1 for each use of a minor psychic power, and 3 for each use of a major. It decreases by 1 per round.
Follow my lead. I will do my duty.
What? I tried to charge that guy, and he went past him. Oh, attack of opportunity. Oh, he gave me a freebie. Vespiatus. The creature in the chair appears as if it has become one with its throne. You see pink parchment-like skin stretched between the seat and the limbs that have too many joints for a normal human being. The Navigator is breathing heavily, the air whistling as it exits through the two dark gill-like slits in its cheeks. The creature's eyes are shut, the 2 ordinary eyes, as well as the third one that sits in the center of its forehead. I believe Master Vespiatus still lives. Abelard flinches at the sight of the stretched skin and the dark marks on the face of the creature. The servants are dead, but the chamber, thank the Emperor, is still sealed from the warp. Well, we have a chance of leaving this place alive. Address Adira. What's wrong with him? Wounded, exhausted, fighting back the endless horrors of the warp that are forcing their way into his head. Pick one. The Navigator stirs, barely able to lift his head and half open his normal eyes. A dark drop rolls from under the closed lid of the third eye and down his face, leaving behind a black trail. Your time is short. The voice is coming from the Vox grill at the base of the bizarre chair. It is unclear how the Navigator is able to produce human speech. Are you all right? Suddenly, the Navigator's body starts thrashing in place. It lurches forward, then falls back onto the seat. Then thrusts forward again as its bones crack and skin tears open. However, the fusion between the body and the chair appears to be stronger than these wild impetuses. The mutant remains seated, but leans as far forward as he can, his layered raiment slowly turning crimson. The gill slits burst open, forming 2 hideous, screaming mouth-like pits. Fall to your knees, mortals, and behold the final dawn. Oh, he's getting possessed. Adira shrieks in terror. It came from beyond. His body is not his! Adira's scream is echoed by the silent cries in your head. The unseen creature triumphs at the sight of the Navigator succumbing to the paroxysms of corruption. Its march thunders under the burden of hopes. Unseal your hearts, and I will flood your souls with myriads of words and meanings, each one a portent to salvation within me. The Navigator continues to convulse violently in his seat, shrieking and cackling, but then his fit stops abruptly. His face is drenched in black and crimson. The dark ooze from under his third eyelid has turned from a trickle into a stream mixed with the blood coming out of his nose, and there is a purplish swelling around the eye. Run, flee from this place while I still have the strength. The words come out of the Vox as a labored rattle. I can contain the intrusion, but not for long. We must begin the translation. Leave the warp, but it can't be done without the Master Helmsman's help. I want to help you. Tell me how. The Navigator takes a ragged breath. Run. The sanctum will be sealed. I will hold it off, hold on, and wait for the signal from the Master Helmsman. Then I will commence the translation. So run. Run! Address Abelard. The Navigator is still alive, but barely so. What do we do now? The Seneschal gazes at the figure in the chair. The ship can only begin